2 more days of shows before we head to Indianapolis for the 2026 NFL Scouting Combine, where we'll be with you all week here on Orange Bloods Live, bringing you all of the information there from Indy and the different players that Texas has there. Not going to talk about that today, though. We'll probably get to that during Final Takes on Friday. But some things that happened today in the Longhorns universe. One, Brandon Harris and these coaches getting these extensions, getting some raises, getting paid. We're going to talk about that. Coach PK, Pete Kwiatkowski, former defensive coordinator for the Longhorns, has been hired as the defensive line coach for the Arizona Cardinals. How is that going to fit? And then Diego Pavia versus the NCAA.
Diabolical.
Maybe Cody and I. Who knows? Maybe soon you won't be hearing from Cody and I here on the channel, so we can go back and reuse some of our JUCO eligibility and try and get some of that sweet NIL money. Let's talk about it all here quickly. First, let's thank our great sponsor, the Man Eye Institute. See life better at the Man Eye Institute. You can give them a phone call today, 1-844-WOW-2020, 844-WOW-2020. You guys hear us talk about them every single day. The reason we do is because they are our presenting sponsor, and that's part of the agreement. But we truly do think that they're great. They're fantastic. Anything for your vision, they're going to be able to help you with. We're so lucky to have such a world-class institution right here in Central Texas, the Man Eye Institute, for all of your vision needs. See life better. What are you guys doing, man? Go get the Alpha Seasoning, alphaseasoning.com. Cody and I invented these 2 seasonings, the Elite Spice Blend and the Longhorn Dust. No MSG, no seed oils. I know that MSG sometimes makes things taste better, but you don't need it with this. We've sourced these ingredients from all over the earth. It's taken us years to develop the perfect seasonings, the most versatile seasonings, the best that are out there on the market. Don't take it from us. Take it from everybody that continues to order this stuff. Alphaseasoning.com is where you can go, or you can scan the QR code there. The one thing I can promise you is you will not be disappointed. Alphaseasoning.com. All right, Cody. Let's start out with talking about the Longhorn coaches. Do you have it pulled up? What these guys are these raises these guys have gotten today?
I do. So the notable one, Brandon Harris, the general manager, saw a jump from $600,000 per season to $1 million. That's the big one right at the top. Other stuff that was reported in the Statesman this morning was Blake Gideon. 800,000 in 2026, 850 in 27. And then an interesting one that was projects to be a big bump is Jabbar Jalouk, the running back coach who came from Florida, who was let go from Florida and is getting 325 this year, but will get 850 in 2027 is the projection.
Florida's paying him $500K of his salary this year to get to leave.
That what you think?
Is that it?
I think they fired him, didn't they?
I'm not sure if they fire him or did Texas snipe him away. I forgot what that whole exact thing was.
Not retaining. So his contract is expired. Not retaining.
Not retaining is not. All right. With the new coach coming in, he wasn't retained, but perhaps he would have been under contract maybe for the 2026 season. There was some sort of buyout to not retain him. Right, because there is sometimes whenever the coach is let go.
I don't think so, because
whenever Napier was let go, it could be that. I think that whenever you do buyouts, you have to do buyouts not just for the head coach, but also for the rest of their staff.
I'm not going to speak on it. I'm not sure. I haven't done any research into that. I didn't even think about it.
Here, let me research that real quick. And
he did agree to a 2-year extension on January 16th, 2025. So he did have a year under his belt and a year left.
Okay, and then read out some of the other ones, and I'm going to look this up real quick.
All right, some of the other notables are our guy Kenny Baker was entitled to $700,000 this year under the terms of his previous deal, and he will now get $950,000, rising to $1 million. That's interesting phrasing. Will now earn $950,000, rising to $1 million. I wonder if that's an incentive or something. Chris Jackson, a wide receiver coach, new contract elevates his pay from $650,000 to $700,000. That will later jump to $725,000. Michael Bamonte, who was the assistant QB coach that we saw on the sideline a little bit this year, was his contract entitles him to a $400,000, a raise of $125,000 year over year. His compensation will grow to 450 in the later part of his deal. Well, Lee Allen Clark was earning 300,000 last year and will now receive 400,000 and 450 next year. Mark Orfe was the last one, the cornerback coach that came over last year. He'll earn 650. Is what he was entitled to in his previous contract, but he will rise to 700 next year. So around the table, Chris Jackson, AJ Milwee, Michael Belmonte, Leland Clark, Mark Orfe, Kenny Baker, and the general manager, Brandon Harris, all receiving bumps along with the new coaches, Blake Gideon and Jabbar Jalouk.
Okay, so basically, so it's so this is what AI is telling me. So assistants have independent contracts with the university. Even though assistants are hired by the head coach, their employment contracts are with the university or the athletic department, not the head coach personally. That means if the head coach is fired, assistants are not automatically fired. The school must either retain them or terminate them and honor the buyout terms in their contracts. So if they're terminated without cause, that means in almost all cases that the school owes the buyout. So the typical assistant buyout structure is either the guaranteed salary for the remaining contract term, which would have been in this case through 2020. When did Jalouk sign his extension?
January 16th of this last year.
So it would either be for the guaranteed salary for the remaining contract term, or sometimes subject to or sometimes it's a fixed buyout amount, such as 75% of remaining salary, 1 year of salary, monthly continuation payments. I'll bet you what his buyout was, since they knew that Napier at that point was on a little bit of a hot seat. They probably said, your buyout's not going to be for the remaining contract term, but instead for Jalouk, it'll be 1 year of salary. As far as your buyout, if you're not retained, because that would make sense that Florida's paying him whatever he was getting paid, $500K or something there at Florida, right? They're paying him that for the 2026, but since Texas is bumping him to $850 for 2027, that would mean that I would think that would mean that his buyout term was more of the 1 year of salary after termination as opposed to the guaranteed contract term. Right?
I'm trying to figure out what.
Otherwise, if he was guaranteed that money from Florida for 2026 and 2027,
so his 2026 pay was $675 at Florida.
So maybe it was just 75. Maybe it was 75% of 1 year, something like that. Regardless, he's getting paid some money from Florida this year, for sure. And Texas,
makes sense.
And Texas is making it rain, dude. NIL, coaches, all this stuff.
It could be 325 too. And then it'd be 650. That would make some sense, because 650 is what he got paid last year.
Yeah. Who knows? Well, Florida's kicking in some of the bill, at least for this year, for sure. But man, that money spigot's just turned on. I wonder how all this happened so fast. It feels like just a year ago, man. All the NIL guys were coming to catch him, saying like, we're screwed if we don't let your people know, like, donate to Texas One Fund. Like, we don't have any money. We're over the cap already. If people don't step up, we're not going to be able to pay for the players and all this stuff. It feels like it's an unlimited spigot of money right now. So
the way I'm counting all of this, it's about $2.4 million in raises. Also, Milwee's number is not. It says AJ Milwee is listed in the extensions, but his number was never added in here. I never read it off because he's not a part of the. It's just his name is in the extensions, but it's not a part of the new numbers. So, and as far as the new numbers go, it's about $2.4 million in new money to the coaching staff.
What do you think about Coach PK going to the Cardinals? Defensive line coach. I mean, to me, it makes sense that he goes to the NFL, because I remember just coming into this last season. I forgot which media members. Just, some of them asked him about, he's
never been in the NFL though. Why would that make sense?
He just doesn't. He doesn't. It makes sense because
like kids.
Yeah, kind of. He doesn't like. they just asked him. Somebody asked him something about is it tough thinking about being a head coach now in today's football world because of all the NIL and all the rest? And he's like, I would never be a head coach. You know, he just straight up said it, which was interesting because he was certainly under consideration with Coach Lake up there at Washington for a little while, as maybe moving up to be a head coach.
Yeah,
feels like, but he he just said, like, with all this stuff, it's like, man, you got to wear 10 million different hats. Like, I just want to go get out there and coach, and like I just love ball, all this stuff. So I've always thought maybe NFL would be somewhere that he would end up. But I thought it was interesting, defensive line doesn't seem like that. I've always thought of him as more of a linebackers guy, linebackers and DBs and stuff, more than a D line coach. It feels like those guys are certainly a special breed. And
I mean,
he's going in there like his defensive coordinator, that guy. So whenever they hired LaFleur and got rid of Gannon, didn't the Cardinals, didn't they retain their defensive coordinator, that super young guy, Nick Raw?
Gannon was a defensive guy.
Yeah, but their defensive coordinator was like the youngest D coordinator in the league, and I think he was retained by LaFleur. He's like 32 years old.
Rallis?
Nick is it Nick Rallis? Rallis
he was retained here. Yeah. What? Yeah, he's retained.
It'd be kind of weird going to work for a 33-year-old man.
He's 32 from Minneapolis.
Yeah. Minneapolis.
Oh, he was the linebacker. That's where that name came from. So he played linebacker for the Gophers.
Yeah,
name rang a bell.
At Minnesota.
So PK he's been DC obviously for the last how long, since 2020 with Washington. He was outside linebackers at Washington the last time he was designated a position. Defensive line coach 2006 to 2009 at Boise State. Would that have been with that one dude that punched LeGarrette Blunt? And then he was also D-line coach at Eastern Washington in 98. Snow JUCO in 97. Hey, we can talk about JUCO here in a minute. And then Boise State again. Before that, he was D-line coach as well. So his roots were defensive line, but it's been 17 years since he's been a designated defensive line coach.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. And they run a base 3-4 there, so it's something that I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I guess that he will have. They took Walter Nolan in the first round last year.
There's tons of talent on that defense.
Yeah, I'm not sure there's. I mean, so they have Calais Campbell.
They drafted Walter Nolan last year. They also got Darius Robinson from the first round the year before that. I think he's been dealing with injuries. The guy from Missouri.
He's that pick has looked bad.
So was the Zaven Collins pick too, though. I loved Zaven Collins.
But isn't he more of a linebacker? Sure,
but they rush him too. It's like him and Josh Sweat they've both been listed as outside linebackers, but they both rush the quarterback. And Sweat, you know.
So if at 3, if they take David Bailey or something like that, or like, do you think that they'll be able to coach? Do you think that PK will coach him, or will that be the linebackers coach?
I don't know if they'll do that. I don't think they will. If they don't go offensive line, I think they're not. That's
so you just think Maui Goa is just the lock to go there?
Yeah, Maui Goa or Fano, I think. Yeah.
Well, it'll be interesting to follow. Best of luck to PK, man. Feels like they got some good young talent on defense, but gosh, it's a team that's in a total state of flux.
Yeah, but hey, young juice. They move off Kyler.
Did you see that? Did you see? I saw on Twitter somebody said that Patrick Mahomes followed Marvin Harrison Jr. on Instagram.
That's not happening.
It's that time of season to start watching that stuff, though.
Neither of those things are happening.
We'll see. Do you think that the Chiefs take a wide receiver with their first pick?
Funny enough, I did a show yesterday on my draft rankings show, and I did a Kansas City Chiefs 7-round mock, and I gave them Zachariah Branch at 40.
Okay, so because they pick at 10, right? The Chiefs
9, and then 40. Yeah.
Isn't that so hard to believe the Chiefs are picking at 9?
I know.
It's like it's been ever since it's been basically ever since Mahomes that they've had a pick kind of right there around that area. All right, okay, and then finally the Diego Pavia thing. Maybe you can explain this to me better because I don't. Can you just go over the exact timeline about how you can play in college now for like 14 years or something? This whole Diego Pavia versus the NCAA, the thing that they're trying to mitigate and kind of nip in the bud here.
Yeah, so it's kind of hard to understand, but Sportico put out a column the other day about a federal judge issuing a ruling that the NCAA contends that could lead to the college athletes playing 18 seasons and beginning their play at Division I schools at the age of 32. And this is all on the heels of Diego Pavia's argument again. And there's 24 other former junior college players who want Division I eligibility to start when a player's first registers for the NCAA's member school. So the way this is explained is more so than anything, what their intention is to do is to block junior college seasons from counting towards Division I eligibility. The NCAA is wondering what will stop a similar flood of lawsuits seeking discount competition at the D3, D2, or even the NAIA level. The NCAA says that if taken to its logical conclusion, Pavia's position would permit student athletes to compete in, at minimum, 18 seasons of intercollegiate competition, 2 seasons at the junior college level, 4 seasons at the Division III level, 4 seasons at the Division II level, 4 seasons at the NAIA competition, only then to matriculate to a Division I member institution at roughly the age of 32 with a fresh 4-year clock.
A fresh 4-year clock on a body that's been completely beaten to dust. Are you kidding? Here's the dude that
this is the NCAA's argument.
Though, not have anything better to worry about than this. Like
this is the problem. This is where like you can actually understand
about well, if you take it out to its logical conclusion, that's not a logical conclusion.
But the reason they're doing that though is so that they can argue against Pavia, because Pavia is like, give us eligibility, right? All these other guys
Pavia is gone.
No, I know, but he's still arguing for guys that were in his situation. And so what the NCAA is trying to argue back with is saying, if we just allow you to beat us in this direction and keep on taking us to court, what's going to end up happening is we're going to end up getting to this.
Cody, tell me the profile of a player that's going to play 2 years at JUCO. Let's just say they're not even 32 when they get to their Division I school. What Division I school is going to take a dude that played 2 years at JUCO who wasn't recognized, wasn't recruited out of there, wasn't found in the transfer portal, wasn't discovered, and then goes to play in D2 and was not taken out of the transfer portal, wasn't discovered, wasn't recruited out, wasn't noticed, right? Let's just even say that much. So they can start their university clock for D1 at say age 24 and play till they're 28 or something like that. So, right? Like that wouldn't happen. That profile of player doesn't exist.
I think
much less one that's going to go JUCO, D3, D2, NAIA, and then D1. It's like the only player that could maybe go on that kind of career path would be a kicker.
That's fair. Kicker, punter, long snapper. That's fair. What I would say is that profile of player, to your point, doesn't really exist because the majority of kids that go to JUCO have multiple things, whether it's financial problems or academic problems, which in most cases would block you from getting into a Division III because Division IIIs aren't scholarship based. So you're paying 50, 60, 70 grand out of your pocket to play. As well as having to meet academic measures, which a lot of Division IIIs is tough to do. So if you're going from JUCO for 2 years, where you would go next wouldn't be Division III in most cases.
Yeah. Like some guys could go from Last Chance U down to like Trinity and San Antonio or something. Like,
I think you would go in a likely scenario for this would be a kid goes 2 years JUCO and then he plays 4 years Division II. And then it's like, all right, this guy's in 6 seasons. Is he this Ali Marpet where he put on 100 pounds in college? And that's like, all right, look at that guy. That guy would be at that point 24 years old. then he would have 4 years availability in Division One. Because mind you, NAIA is not equal to Division Two or Division One. So NAIA classifies closer to JUCO than it does level of play, JUCO or Division Three. So you would go 2 years JUCO, 4 years Division Two, and then at age 24, you would begin your clock in Division One, and you'd play 25, 26, 27, 28, and your whole prime would be played at the Division One level if you filled 4 years. That'd be the only realistic thing you could see a guy get to 10 years. 18 is completely maniacal to even mention, but hey, the NCAA is trying to put a line in the sand and say, do you see how stupid this sounds?
Yeah.
I think that's the whole point. And it sounds stupid and also unrealistic completely, because I don't even know if I would want to play football that long and get paid. You wouldn't get paid $1. You wouldn't. I mean, oh, look, I'm at the juke. So here's some of the numbers I heard from HBCU schools as far as NIL goes, because everyone's like, NIL. HBCU schools right now are averaging between 2,500 and 15,000 as far as their overall roster NIL, pay, like for the whole team.
2,500 for the whole team?
2,500 to 15 grand for the whole team.
These guys are getting enough for a night.
That's FCS, by the way.
These guys are getting enough for a big night at Showbiz Pizza, man.